So I often get asked about website updates and why you actually need to do updates to your website. A lot of websites at the moment and this day and age are built on content managed systems. So a content managed system allows you to actually make changes to different content on your website. So we have a website here. This is a very standardized template for a website, and say your website might be built on WordPress or Joomla or Drupal or one of the other CMS platforms, because there's a lot of them. And say you've got here a rotation slider, so that becomes what's known as actually a plugin. So certain websites and certain CMS platforms are built with multiple plugins. So you might have your rotation slider with your image, your person doing whatever they're doing. Then you might have another plugin that controls how your menu bar looks. Then you might have another plugin that controls what's called your post slider, so what kind of posts, or you might have little tidbits of information or news articles or stuff like that. You may then also have a plugin that controls different columns and the way the information is laid out on the website, so that creates another plugin. So what happens is the websites are actually created with a lot of these different plugins, and an actual core, the core of the website, where it being a CMS site, could be WordPress or Drupal or Joomla or something like that, actually gets updated. So say this is 4.x.x in its version. When that gets updated, so WordPress is separate to the plugins in that it updates itself, it has new versions that come out. So say that gets updated to 5.x.x, what happens is these plugins could actually be untested on this new version of WordPress or Joomla. So in doing so, it can actually cause these plugins to create what's called holes or vulnerabilities, and then hackers can actually target these in order to actually gain access to your website. So it's very important to consistently, and I guess that's one of the drawbacks of having a CMS site. It's really good that you can update all the content, but by actually having that flexibility, you need to make sure you also have a strategy that protects your website quite consistently. So it's recommended at least every 3 months to do some website security updates. Make sure that the WordPress version or the Joomla version or the version of your CMS that it's either updated to or that it's currently on is still compatible and tested with all these plugins. If not, you may actually need to upgrade these plugins. So the plugins may still be fine, you might not need to buy any new plugins or modules, but you might actually have to upgrade them so that they actually are now compatible and any holes or vulnerabilities that have been created have actually been fixed. For as little as $286 ex-GST, we can actually go through, check your versions, check all your plugins, and make sure that it actually is quite compatible, because you made a fairly decent investment in your website, so you want to make sure it's quite secure and that it's actually up to date, so that it's not actually going to provide any vulnerabilities or ability for people to actually hack in or put malicious content on your website. What also can happen is it might not necessarily be a malicious attack, but when WordPress or Joomla update, or any other CMS that you might be using updates, these actually can become incompatible in its current version, and then it actually breaks that plugin. So what happens is you might actually get an infinite loading symbol, or that might actually not work, or this disappears altogether. So if you don't actually monitor and make sure your website's working, or little links that might be to each of those articles, the article might show, but when you click the link it takes you off to a broken page or doesn't actually work quite well. Your content, if you've got something that's controlling the way your columns are structured so that it responds to a mobile device quite well, and then that breaks, then the content can just go all over the page or something like that. So it's very important also to just maintain an active website. Google checks for this sort of stuff to make sure that you've actually got a website that's functional. So if there's broken links that are created because of plugins or modules that are being out of date, then Google registers these as broken links on the site and can affect your SEO ratings. If you're interested in learning a bit more about this, or you'd actually like us to have a quick look at your site, a complimentary site, to see if this is something that's necessary, yeah, please give us a call at the office on 0749514